Diving straight in to another video and another campsite. After our last campsite was cancelled, thanks to Hipcamp, we found a new one at Jubbera Country Camping. After a week of wild storms and wet weather, the track in was a bit wet, slippery in places, nearly got bogged coming across the flat, but we arrived at our campsite. Check this out, nice grassy site, so green. Already had firewood delivered to our site at the River Beach campsite. Quick check to see how the creek was running, back up to double check everything, turn the van around, get set up, light the fire, kick back in our happy place and just enjoy the serenity of the scenic rim. Don't you love it when you have the best weekend planned to get away camping and caravanning, only for the heavens to open up and it rains. It buckets down with 120 odd mil to the campsite we had booked. Had a great weekend planned to get away with a bit of adventure. A bit tricky to get the caravan in, but we were going to give it a crack. But then the rain happened and we just could not get in. The owners of the Hipcamp property where we were booked in cancelled and said it's very risky to try and get a caravan in, so we had to pull the plug on that. It was very disappointing because we've been looking forward to that one for quite a while, and it would have been a great show to watch, to getting the caravan in, up and over these hills, but with the wet weather we wouldn't have got out of there. So after that was cancelled, we had to make another booking quick smart at short notice. Got on the Hipcamp, find a link in the description of this video, get on there if you haven't used Hipcamp before. It's so easy to use, there's so many great properties out there to go and explore and get out of the city and escape the madness of the cities for those weekend getaways. So we found this place, Jubbera Country Camping. Out near Beaudesert, between Beaudesert and Boona actually, not far from Warralong Dam. It's just up over the hill there. Seeing a bit of drone footage, Warralong Dam. There's no camping on the dam. This is probably as close as you'll get to it, but there is this nice big dam just here near where we're camped, and we're on the banks of Allen Creek, just the other side of the caravan and the ute there. Take you for a walk down and show you the creek. And that is why I booked this place quick smart on Hipcamp, because it had a great swimming hole. With the temperatures and the high humidity, it's been super hot here in southeast Queensland for the last week. I thought if we're going to get away with a change of plans this weekend, it's got to have a swimming hole. But with all the rain that we've had and water laying everywhere coming out yesterday afternoon, it's in not minor flood, but the creek and the swimming hole is well and truly running. That's the view looking down into Allen Creek from the campsite, which is just there. Great little campsite, nice and level, nice and grassy. And the campsite we're at is River Beach. Why is it called River Beach? Well, we're on Allen Creek, but there is a beach down there in the creek. Closer look at the campsite. Now, we did get firewood delivered for $30. You get probably 2 wheelbarrows of firewood, which is reasonable value. We did do a bit of cooking last night using the Oz Spit, the new Oz Spit. We used it in a different way to cook some steaks over the coals, and they're only sizzle steaks for a quick steak sandwich, but it worked great. So versatile, that thing. And we'll be doing more cooking on that this afternoon. We're going to do a roast pork over the coals. Got plenty of room here. You could easily fit another 2 or 3 caravans or campers in here with you. Great little spot. After the disappointment of the other campsite being cancelled due to wet weather and more forecast, it is raining out on the coast as we speak. We're only a bit over an hour's drive from Brisbane and it's raining back there at home at the moment, so lucky we're not back there. We wouldn't have been doing much sitting at home. This is us just for the Friday, Saturday night, camped up on the banks of Allen Creek, River Beach campsite, just off the Boona Beaudesert Road. We're only about 200 or 300 metres off of the road. You can hear a little bit of road noise, but you can't see the traffic. Let's go and have a look at River Beach down on the creek. So you can camp down here, sort of on the banks of the creek too, but this is the access. There's no way you get a caravan down in there. Well, you would get a caravan down in there, but you wouldn't get it back out, especially if it's wet. Bit of a narrow gate to get through here at the start. A few washouts. You might get a camper trailer down in here, but probably more so for your tents, swags, that type of thing. Or on a nice day, you could just set up a gazebo or the awning out off of the ute, and through the trees is the beach. But nice big area down here. With all the wet weather, I assume that the owners haven't been able to mow anything, but still, you could quite easily camp on what's here without it being mowed. There's a pretty decent area there, but That's your access. A little bit tricky to get in if you had a trailer on, but a single vehicle, you get in and out, no worries. As long as it didn't rain while you're down in here, because you got to get back up there. Even though it's fairly sandy, a little bit of black soil, it might be a bit slippery to get out. Then over here is the beach. Now, this is Allen Creek, which runs into the Logan River a few k's downstream. It doesn't normally run like this. It's only due to all the rain and storms that we've been having for the past week. You got all that nice big beachy area over there, which would be so good. It probably doesn't look the best at the moment after the water levels have been up. A little bit of silt and wet sand there. Might be a bit sticky underfoot, but it would be a great swimming hole on a hot day. Get down in there and float around in the creek. But being a seasonal creek, it doesn't always have water in it either. I think it does dry up with just a few water holes. It doesn't always run. But once this dies down, give it a few days or a week and it clears up again. Not like a chocolate milkshake and not crunchy. Be a great spot over there. We'll see how hot it gets later on. If it gets that hot and sticky this afternoon, it's a good chance I'll end up in there just to test it out. Now this property I think is around 2,000 acres. So it's a decent property, cattle property. And there's another, I think 5 or 6 campsites on this property. All good looking sites. If you jump on the Hipcamp, check them out and you can book them for yourself. Now they're not the cheapest campsite. We normally prefer to go for the budget, more affordable campsites. They're definitely not cheap in here and they do vary from site to site. So do your homework and check that out for yourself, but just be prepared when you see the price. But sometimes you got to pay the price to get nice campsites like this, especially if you got a magic little swimming hole down there on a hot day in the middle of summer. Access to get in here, there's gravel track all the way the first 500 or 600 metres, but then you are just on grass grazing country and there was a few mushy areas. You got to go off the access track, up and over that hill and come down through here. Some of it was a little bit mushy and as soon as we went off the gravel we nearly got stuck. Lucky I got it into 4-wheel drive quick smart, pulled 2.5 tonne of Caravan up the hill where it was a bit greasy. So hopefully we don't get too much rain or storms while we're in here and we can get back out when it's time to head home Sunday afternoon. They do say I think 2-wheel drive or all-wheel drive access, but I would highly recommend 4-wheel drive access only in here, especially if it's looking a bit wet. You might get a car in here in the dry, not towing anything, but once it gets a bit wet on top and a bit slippery, chances are you could get stuck.
We took up a big brekkie. I just want to say thanks to everybody that has subscribed to our channel. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button so you can follow us for more adventures.
Well, being a hot and steamy day, we've come down the creek for a look to see if it's worthwhile going for a swim in the chocolate milkshake. I don't think so, not while it's looking like that. I do want to see how cold the water is, because it's coming from way up in the hills. And then we'll get back up to camp, stoke the fire up, and it's nearly that time to do a bit of bush cooking with Brad. I don't want to get the goodies wet.
No.
Hear me squeal.
Does it feel sandy or?
It's sandy but very silty. It's all stuck in the seat.
Yuck.
Could get to the other side easy enough.
Just pluck in and pluck out. Plunge in and plunge out.
Plunge in and plunge out. I laugh. Made it.
Are you dipping?
Woo! That's fresh. That's very refreshing. It's nice and sandy on the other side.
You look fresher.
There we go. That's great. Very nice. If it wasn't so dirty, you'd be in there floating around all day. Anyway, back to camp, get the fire going. It's time for bush cooking with Brad. We got to get this pig on the Oz spit and hopefully we don't get rained on. There's quite a few showers and storms hanging around just to the north of us. we've got the fire going. It's looking good. There's plenty of heat coming out of that. I'll show you how we get the pig on the spit, get it set up on the Oz spit, get it turning around, and then the hard work is done. It's just a matter of sitting back and watching and enjoying watching dinner get cooked over the open fire on the Oz spit. Let's get into this. Righto, so we've just got boneless leg straight from Woolies. Now it's already scored, but it's very slimy. Secret to getting crackle, I believe, told by a professional chef, good on you Mandy, is boiling water. Give it a wash, get all the slime and all those juices off it, and then pat it down with your paper towel, and that gives it the best chance to get good crackle. Which over the open fire, it's not like a camp oven where all the moisture and everything coming out of that is trapped in there and it doesn't get a chance to crackle. Over the open fire, all that just evaporates, and we should get 100% crackle. But first, I'm going to get it on the skewer so it's a bit easier to handle. Already got the billy boiling on the fire for hot water, ready to give it a wash. Now the hot water actually helps to wash it, plus dries out that skin that little bit. Starts opening up all the little score marks on there, ready to salt it. So we'll get her on the skewer, nice and centered. I've already got this set up on the Oz spit rotisserie bar, all stainless steel. I just sat that on there before to work out where that first prong needs to be, just so you're not trying to muck around and adjust it once it's all on the fire. So we sort of know that's going to sit in the motor, and then your pork's going to sit here, central, over the fire. Anyway, let's get this on the skewer. Nice and centre, which is about there. It's not centred, it won't cook properly. It sits too long on one side while it's trying to spin. And if you don't get it right the first time, you can adjust it. That feels alright. It's always going to be a little bit lopsided, but we'll get the prongs in there, flip it upside down, straight in there, just like that. And then we can actually spin it and just see if it's centered. You can soon feel if it's too heavy on one side. Not too bad. It's always going to be heavy on one side because of the shape of the roast. For that, it's ready to put the other prong on, and then we'll give her a wash. These spring lock prongs are great. Spikes, you just squeeze them, slide it on the bar and release, and that locks on and holds it in place. That is your pork on the spit, ready for cooking. The next step, we'll give her a wash, dry, get the salt on. See the pores, or where it's scored already, opens up, just a bit of heat. You wouldn't think adding water and moisture to your pork when you want it to be dry to get crackle. This is the secret from a very professional chef. Get rid of the excess water. You can do that when you're camping and bush cooking. Just tip it on the floor. Paper towel, you want to make sure all that skin is nice and dry. Sometimes I'll just let it sit there for 5 to 10 minutes just for all that moisture and heat from the hot water to evaporate. Because we're cooking over the open fire, the heat off of that fire is going to evaporate it all. Those score marks are opened up nicely, so we should get some decent crackle out of that. Now the salt, heaps of salt. Can't have enough salt. Salt her up. The salt does draw the moisture out of it as well, so that helps it to evaporate any of the moisture. Make sure you get all the way around, because wherever the skin is, you want salt on it. And that is ready to go on the Oz spit over the fire. Such a great way of cooking, so much fun, and it's so easy. You're not having to have a roaring big fire with heaps of coals, and then you got your shovel out. You're always searching for more coals to cook a big roast like that. This, you don't need a big fire. Your roast spinning over the top, doing its thing while it's cooking, without having to worry about putting more wood on, making sure you got enough coals for a couple of hours of cook time in a camp oven. We're just going to cook this nice and slow. Probably I'd say 3 hours, 4 hours, but you want plenty of heat to start with just to get that crackling process happening. Drop that down a little bit. So easy just to adjust your fights. That should give us a good temperature. If you can hold your hand there for I think it's 5 seconds, your fire's hot enough at that height. So that's well and truly got some good heat in there. Get it on, start cooking. So we've got the motor box, goes on the Oz spit. Grab your spit, well you roast like that on the bar, ready to go. Spin it away from the fire to start with. Put it in there. The motor over the square end of the bar so it locks into the gearbox. And that just cantilevers over there. How easy is that? Then all we need to do is flick the switch. And we are cooking on the open fire with the Oz spit. How good is it, guys? It's about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We've got the fire going and there's some heat there. We've got the dinner on. It's centered pretty well on the bar. It's just spinning away, starting to cook. Like I said, you need that good heat to start with, just to get that crackle going. And because I'm only new to using this type of spit, but what I've done before is just switch it off for a minute to instantly get some heat into that skin and give it the best possible chance to crackle. And give it a couple minutes there like that, just to dry out, and then we'll turn it back on and let it do its thing. Guys, if you haven't got an Oz spit, you've got to have one of these. It's so much fun cooking while you're away caravanning and camping, but even at home you can use this thing anywhere. If you've got a fire pit, cooking outside your caravan, sitting around the fire, and at this time of the day it's beer o'clock, so best to go and check the fridge, get a cold one. Another new investment we've made to make sure that the temperature's right for cooking, and it takes 100% of the guesswork out of knowing if your meal's ready, if it's overdone, underdone. Makes it spot on every time is one of these things. Temperature probe goes in your meat and it works through an app on your phone. So we'll put that in and we can check it on the phone. Once it starts cooking and building that internal temperature, we'll know exactly where we're at. No more guesswork with knowing when your food's done. Never dried out, never overdone, and never undercooked. We'll get it in there and then we can monitor it on the phone. All we do is put this in the thickest part of the meat. It's got to be all the way in, just like that. That's all it is. Inkbird wireless thermometer. Can't have anything exposed where it'll affect your temperature. Now with that, it gives you the internal temperature of your food. You've also got another temperature sensor on the end there that gives you the ambient temperature, and you can keep an eye on your actual cooking temperatures instead of guessing, thinking is it hot enough, is it not hot enough, is it too hot. You can see it all on your phone. Let me show you this. We'll just grab the phone. So the current internal temperature of that piece of pork is 12 degrees. Because it just come out of the fridge about an hour ago. See the ambient temperature there? 49 degrees. And it's rising. We know exactly what that temperature is sitting over the top of the fire. But that takes the guesswork out of it. You can set alarms on there to when it reaches whatever temperature you want for your pork. I think it's about 70 degrees. Is that right, Chef Mandy?
Yes.
About 70 degrees for a roast pork, internal temperature. You can set an alarm on your app. Don't even have to worry about it. Just keep an eye on your fire. Make sure you got your heat there, and the phone will alarm when your roast is cooked. Technology, eh? You gotta love this stuff. I'm right into me gadgets, but I love this one. First time using it, so we'll see how it goes. Have a go at this. Look at that crackle. Yummo. Now, have a go at this. This is taking your campfire cooking to the next level. Check this out. This here is going to take your campfire cooking to the next level. What we've got is a stainless steel cylinder, perforated, with an end cap. You can put your taters in there, your veggies, you can do popcorn in there. Load her up, put it on the spit, tighten the thumb screw up, and it just sits there spinning like your pork does. So you can have your pork and veggies all on the go at once. Is that a winner? So for this one, all we're going to do is some tinned potatoes, whole potatoes. I love these things, and I use them in all my stews and stuff in the camp oven. Garlic and onion oil in there, out of the tin of course, on the fire, going round and round. A bit of that garlic and onion infused oil in there, and just give that a shake. They're all covered in oil. We're just going to tip them straight in there. Oil everywhere. Now there's only a couple in there, but there's only 2 of us, so that's plenty. Put the lid on. Yep, just slip straight on. And that is cooking your potatoes with your roast. All I need to do is build the fire out this way a little bit, or bring a few coals out, but the wind's blowing all that heat off of the fire through up onto that perforated basket. They're just rolling around in the base there, just nicely. The Ozspit truly is so versatile, there's not much you can't cook on this thing. I love it. Well guys, check this out. This is the Inkbird case. The alarm's going off, and the app on my phone is showing the internal temperature of the pork is at 71 degrees. The ambient temperature of the fire is still at 94 degrees. Check this out. That is perfection on a rotisserie. Got the taters in there as well. They'll be done. I reckon overall the Ozspit has done it to perfection. We'll get this off and just let it rest for a bit. To me, that looks absolutely delicious. Oh yeah, that's hot. A bit of wood over here so we don't burn the table. Have a go at that. Can you smell it? Oh. Now all the strings did burn off, so they don't like the fire. Is ready to go for dinner. Check those potatoes out. Let us know in the comments what you think of the Ozspit and that pork. If you've got any tips or tricks, if you've done this before, and you'll also in the comments find a link to the Ozspit website, Barbecue Spit Rotisseries. And if you do want to purchase one of these, which they're absolutely great for camping, even using at home, but you can set them up anywhere over an open fire, make sure you use the discount code BrandyADV. I'll leave that in the description as well. If you're purchasing or if you're shopping online, Barbecue Spit Rotisseries, use that code for 5% off. The smell of that, oh, that's awesome. Now, we'll get this off. So to take your basket off, that just slides straight off. It's a little bit of a messy process. Just squeeze those together and that should pull out. That's one squeeze lock. Then your meat should fall straight off onto there. Just like that. Now that's hot. There you go. There's your meat. And here's your veg. Look at that tin of tiny taters. Wonder how they taste. Taste like a potato. So the Ozspit with just the rotisserie bar and the basket, you could cook a meal in that for I reckon between 6 and 10 people, depending on the size of your roast and your veggies. Check them out on their website, Barbecue Spit Rotisseries. Link in the description. Use BrandyADV for 5% off anything you purchase. Here we go, the crackle test. Oh. No. No words for that. That is the best crackle I've ever had. You reckon, Mandy? Mm-hmm. Best crackle?
Best.
Oh. I'll leave you with it. See you tomorrow. Well, wouldn't you know it, our last day out here at Jubbera country camping. The weather's turned it on. After the last week or 2 weeks of showers and storms nearly every day, we've actually got a beautiful, glorious day, like you can see in the background there. Just a few clouds, but we've got to pack up and go home, back to the madness of city life. So after our plans changed, the other booking that we had for another great spot got cancelled due to the bad weather and tracks being washed out. This was a good second option and finding it last minute. So very happy that we found this spot, and we would come back here, only it's a little bit expensive for our tastes, and what we normally do, we like to try and find those budget camps. This one's a little bit overpriced for us, but a great spot just the same. If you want to come and check it out, check that link in the description for Hipcamp, and you too can find this one at Jubbera Country Camping at River Beach Campsite, with quite a few other campsites on this property as well. But for now, we're going to have to pack up and leave this site. It's starting to warm up, getting fairly hot. Would have been a great day to be splashing around down there in the creek. The time has come that we need to get out of here, and luckily we didn't have any big storms last night to make the track wet to get out and up and over the hills. We'll show you that on the way out. Though I will say, before we go and start packing up, thanks for watching, guys, and thank you very much for your support to all our current subscribers. If you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, jump over there, give us a like, and make sure you follow us and tag along for our journey and our adventures. And who knows where we're going to end up, with about 340 days to go till we hit the road full time, and this will be our lifestyle. The only stress we're going to have is where we go next. Can't wait for that day, and neither can Mandy. Bring it on, I say. Anyway, see you later, guys. Catch you soon on the next one, the next Brandyscape adventure. If you'd like to see more of our adventures, check out these videos popping up on the screen right now. Lots of past trips, tips and tricks, and how-tos, doing a bit of maintenance to make sure that you too can enjoy life on the road. See you later, guys.